Well, welcome again, viewers. Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Psychologists help people with themselves and other people, and theologists help people with themselves and God. We're going to look at the Watchtower Study Edition for November 2019. We're doing the article, Build Strong Friendships Before the End Comes. We'll look more at how the end's going to unfold later, but for now we're looking at the, could you say, psychology behind this article. Good friends work together in ministry. Not always. They can start out to be good friends and drift apart, but there are in many cases people who really grow strong bonds in ministry, be it for Jehovah Witnesses or not. The sad part for Jehovah Witnesses is they're running around telling people lies. And that would really, when you come to your senses, it really does severe damage to your mental health. I won't do a video on that right now or show you one, but we know that Jeremiah sent his scribe to do his dirty work. And then we looked at some examples on how do you feel when you're in the ministry and you hear your friend boldly defend his faith or speak with heartfelt conviction about Jehovah and his purposes. And you'll see an example of this here on this video here. But we want to get down to, and this, talk about shoot themselves in the foot. The Watchtower is notorious for really trying to fix things the wrong way. And they say, consider the two experiences that show how working in the ministry draws people together. Adeline, a 23-year-old sister, asked one of her friends, Candace. Now, as soon as they use the name Candace, you can guess what come to mind, can't you? Many of you don't know about Candace Conti, the ex-Jehovah Witness who was sexually molested for years and years by some Jehovah Witnesses. I've forgotten the story offhand, but I'll put some videos up of Candace, and there goes the Watchtower people running again. Away they go. They just like to run away. We'll see if we can find another one. Put some videos up. Here's another one. We'll jump up a bit this time. We'll go up here. There. But Candace Conti sued the Watchtower, and it cost them millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But she asked a friend, Adeline, asked Candace to go and preach in seldom worked territory, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not. We wanted to be more motivated and enjoy the ministry more, she says. Now again, this is manipulative. We both needed a spiritual boost. Not sure how standing at the carts gives anyone a spiritual boost, but anyway. How did they benefit from working together? At the end of each day, says Adeline, we discussed how we felt. Now, I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for that. What touched us about the conversations we had? Oh my gosh. And how we sensed Jehovah's direction in our ministry. Now, interestingly, coming up next, they got focusing on forgiving, but there is, I'm sure in this, it's not in this one, but there's a part about the Holy Spirit in one of these articles, which would be interesting. They should put that in here, how the Holy Spirit helps. But anyway, we both enjoyed these deep discussions and got to know each other even better, which is normal, isn't it? Layla and Marion, two single sisters from France, went preaching for 5 weeks in Bangui. And if you're not sure where Bangui is, it is a leave or die part of Central Africa. Leave or die. Now, I don't know why the Watchtower would be encouraging anybody to go to Central Africa. It's one of the most dangerous places in the world, and I just don't understand what they think they're going to benefit, or what these people are going to benefit. They're destroyed. It's a leave or die zone. Just leaves me speechless, honestly, it really does. Well, their friendship grew stronger, I bet it did. As I observed Marion's flexibility, her love for the local people and her zeal in the ministry, My admiration for her increased. I think admiration's a better word than affection, isn't it? You do not have to move to a foreign country to enjoy these benefits. Each time you work in your local territory with a brother or sister, you have the opportunity to get to know that one better and to strengthen your bond of friendship. So they say. So I think the part that come out here is Candace, and we'll look at some videos on Candace Conti, and we'll see where we go from there. But our next part's going to be focus on the positive and be forgiving.
Today is Sunday, June 17th, 2012. And I'm standing in front of the Tucson Community Center here in Tucson, Arizona, getting ready for another Jehovah Witness convention. Before I begin, I want to talk a little bit about the big news with the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses have broken a world record. And I have an article from the newspaper about a judgment, a $28 million Jehovah Witness sex abuse case that just came down a couple of days ago. And this was a lawsuit that was won by a woman in, I believe, Oakland, California. Now, I just want to let me read this to you. It says, a Northern California jury has awarded $28 million in damages to a woman who said the Jehovah's Witnesses allowed an adult member of a Fremont church to molest her when she was a child in the mid-1990s. Now, they say in the article that this is the largest single monetary judgment that has ever been levied against any religious organization in the world. A single judgment. Now, we know that the Catholic Church has had multiple millions of dollars of judgments in their sex abuse cases with their pedophilia, but this is a single individual suing the Jehovah's Witnesses, and this $28 million has been now the single largest judgment awarded against any institution, religious institution. So once again, the Jehovah's Witnesses have shown their hypocrisy because they claim to be the faithful and discreet slave. And I want to be fair here because other religious organizations, the Catholic Church, the Baptists, the Jewish community, yes, all those communities have had their sex abuse cases also. But what's interesting about this one is that it set a world's record. So Jehovah's Witnesses can be not proud of this, but they now have to answer that how they can make history by being guilty of some of the most atrocious crimes against the innocent teenagers, younger than teenagers. This woman was, I believe, when she was molested, she was, I think, between the ages of 9 and 10 years old. And one thing before I finish, there's a great cover-up of pedophilia and the Jehovah's Witnesses. If you do a little bit of research on this, you'll see that the documentation, the workbooks, or the leadership books have said that they have to go through, if there's a child sex abuse allegation against one of the members, an elder, they have to go up the chain of command, and they're not allowed to go to the police. They want to keep all this in-house. So it's just another example of the problems that the Jehovah's Witnesses have. And if you're a Jehovah's Witnesses listening to me right now, I want to encourage you to protect your children. Do your research. Don't listen to what I say. Get on the internet. And you can look up this case right here. The woman's name is Candace Conti. Candace Conti, $28 million judgment, and was just won in June of 2012.
So if you're not satisfied that this person will not offend again, then you won't reprove. You'll disfellowship.
Yes.
And when the person's disfellowshipped, they then can still attend meetings and so on, but under some restriction, is that right?
Under a lot of restrictions.
Yes. And members of the congregation cannot associate with them socially.
Socially or spiritually.
Yes. But the person is still otherwise in the world and can associate with people outside of the church.
Yes.
And you don't take into consideration, do you, how people outside of the church might be kept safe from such a person whom you're not satisfied will not reoffend?
If they were outside the church and they were a close friend, I would tell them.
Well, and how would you know if they're a close friend and they're outside of the church?
Now, if they were a close friend of mine.
A close friend of yours?
If I was.
Yes.
If I associated with them.
Well, what about people who are not close friends of yours, others than outside of the church? You don't take any steps, do you, to protect them from this potential reoffending? You don't, do you? You're concerned with the congregation
Yeah,
principally,
we're
aren't you?
concerned with the congregations. We are shepherds of the congregation.
Yes, and you're not a shepherd to those who are not in the congregation.
No.
And as an organisation, in your experience, you don't seek to protect or take care of children who are outside of the congregation.
That's a broad statement.
Well, I can limit it.
Yeah, limit it,
In your
please.
decision on whether or not to disfellowship someone, you don't take consideration of children outside of the congregation.
Do take consideration of them, but what ability have we got to protect every child in Australia?
Well, what you can do is you can report to the child protection authorities,
And that is done in some cases.
but generally it's not done, is it?
No.
It's not done unless there's a legal requirement for it to be done, is there?
That is true.